we are ready. Good morning, good morning. I'd like to say good morning to everybody. I'd like to, excuse me, start off this morning with just thanking God that we are all present, that we all woke up, and that we are able to join and check out this today's message. I'm super excited about it. God sent it to me, and man, it was a change. Like I received it, and it was just a difference, a little different than what I was going to do. It was a change, but I am very excited about it, and I think it's going to be very helpful. So, again, we're going to start off with just thanking God that we're present, we're able, we got up. Thank God for this beautiful weather, and that I'm sure by the end of the week it'll probably be zero again. But for today and what's going on today, we want to just be thankful, and I hope everybody has got up and got a good breakfast and has done something positive between now and when you got up. You've done something productive with your day so far. All right, so today's message is titled, Your Mind is the Source. Your mind is the source. So and what I mean by that is just, your mind is the source of everything and anything going on in your life. Your mind is the source of what it's going to be, what you're going to make of situations, circumstances, overall your life. So, the first thing is I want you to understand our mind is the source of every important thing in our life. Your mind determines whether your life is hell or heaven. You literally get to make a choice and decide whatever situations there are, whatever you're going through, whatever you've been through, you get to decide what it is, heaven or hell. And what I've learned is that everyone on the earth, your biggest enemy is yourself. You think of everything that you think of everything that has happened in your life, you think of everything you made it through, you think of what frustrates you, what makes you mad, what makes you happy. You get to decide it, what you make of it, what you think of it. Your mind is the source for everything that goes on in your life. Thus, your mind is your biggest enemy. You think of, where does doubt come from? Where does doubt, where does fear, where does these thoughts come from, right? And a lot of times we rationalize it to be other things. We'll make it, family, we'll make it friends, we'll make it our job, we'll make it our situations. But the reality is, it's all in your perception of it. There is no shortage of disappointing things that happen to everyone in life. It doesn't matter your economic status, it doesn't matter your ethnic group, it doesn't matter your size. Like, there's no shortage of disappointing things that happen to everybody. Now, the difference between the people who are always happy, always achieving what we would consider a success, is how they manage their thoughts. Because one of the most powerful things that allows us to be different from any other species in the world is we can critically think. If you think about us and animals, right? We all have blood, we all have bones, we are, only difference is that we have a more intelligent mind. Most of us anyway, okay. It's literally just, we're able to think critically. If you think of, your pets, your pets are very minimal thinkers, right? And we have some people who have super smart pets, but even with that, they're very minimal thinkers. We have some, you think of any animals, and we think of some animals as super smart, but even with that, they are very minimal thinkers, and they can't critically think like we can. We are the only species that are able to do and to create and to progress, all with our mind. So, a big part of just understanding how powerful your mind is, and a big part of making drastic changes to whatever situation you're in, is understanding that we have to start to objectively reflect and analyze ourselves, right? So imagine this. Imagine that, everybody has had a time when they were mean, ignorant, inconsiderate for whatever reason, right? So a lot of times when we have behaviors like that, we rationalize them. We rationalize them to make it right, and there's never no changing in it. So we've already set the thought pattern that those behaviors, for whatever circumstances brought them on, are right. Imagine if we were to step back from ourselves and we were to objectively reflect on what we did and what we could have done different. Now, in every part of your life, you pretty much do that except the most important part, right? And the most important part is our self-evaluations. We do it for our jobs, we do it for our kids. We are really, really good at evaluating objectively our friends, family members, other people, celebrities, athletes. We're really good at that. But we don't often look in the mirror and do the same for ourselves. Now, it's tough. It takes a lot. It's definitely, it definitely made I saw a big change in my life when I decided to stop blaming everybody else for things that were out of their control. They were in my control, and I was lacking in different areas that I wanted to really be progressing. And once I stopped pointing fingers and blaming everybody else for it, I was able to really make some strides and advancements, not just financially, but like in every part, in every aspect of my life. When I started to critically analyze and objectively reflect on my actions, I was able to jump leaps and bounds. And it's always a process. Like I'm definitely not done, but just the clarity to understand that I get to determine it. I get to determine any and everything in my life. I get to determine how I'm going to let any and every situation impact me. And it's very tough initially because it requires change and it requires you to be honest with yourself. And it requires no one else. No one else is it should not be no one else in your mind when you're assessing and analyzing yourself. It's all about, I think, progression and how can you get better? How can you be a better parent? How can you be a better worker? How can you be a better businessman? How can you be a better friend? There's so many things that we don't look at and we don't try to progress it. We're too busy. I think a lot of times, a lot of us are really busy with being a parent or being a good employee or being a good friend, that we're not understanding are we doing and being the best for ourselves. And the only way to do and be the best for yourself is that you put that time and energy that you put at being great at other things into yourself. And a big key of that is just being able to self-reflect and analyze objectively yourself instead of rationalizing different things that you've done years after years after years that has not got you the results you want. I know even for me, just, I used to always have all these different excuses for, I wanted to, lose weight, and I wanted my body to look a certain way, and, I'm blaming Patti LaBelle for the sweet potato pies, and I'm blaming Edie's for cookie dough ice cream. Like, if they didn't make this, I wouldn't eat this every night, and it wouldn't be it wouldn't be an issue for me. At some point, I had to step back and be like, oh well, I guess there's always the option to not eat it, and there's always the option to exercise and do more. And even when I don't feel like it and don't want to, because if I'm being honest with myself, it's like I love the results of working out. I can't say I'm a big fan of actually doing it. Now, I can say when I get to the gym and get started, I'm kind of loving it. But the thoughts going up to it, like, it's funny. I was talking to my son, and he goes and work out now by himself. It's nothing. And he's like, yo, what's up with the gym? Can you drop me off? Can you drop my friend off? He's autopilot, like, loves it, can't wait to get to it. Me, man, I typically go to the gym very late at night. And it's not because I can't go earlier, totally could. It's not because anything other than all day, I'm procrastinating, and I'm like, well, wait, I could go to the gym now, but oh my God, my mailbox looks dry. Let me water this mailbox. It's all kind of reasons. I'm always coming nowhere not to go, and then finally, I'm getting there late. Once I'm in, it's on, I'm motivated and pushed. But it's definitely a mind, it's definitely a talking to and me coaching myself to like, all right, look, get to the gym, so again, work in progress. But that's pretty much the same scenario with anything that you want to be doing. You're letting fear, you're letting doubt, you're letting other people's opinions, you're letting sometimes the media, you're letting all these different things affect you from pursuing and doing things that you want to do, that you need to do, and that you should do. And you don't have to, because you control it. You just got to understand and decide that I'm in control of it, so I'm going to do it my way. I'm going to make changes and put in the effort to do it that way. All right. So next, you think about the best way to defeat any enemy is to understand how it operates. So no matter what it is, whether you're playing a video game, you think about at work, if you're in sales, if you're in education, it's not the students that's your enemy, it may be the parents or whatever it is that is stopping you from progressing, from making other people, making things better. The best way to switch it or alleviate it is to understand your enemy. So imagine that your enemy is yourself. So, and in yourself, it's your thoughts and what you allow in your thoughts. So a big thing about our thoughts is they are 100% influenced by what you watch, what you read, if you read, the people you're around, the conversations you have, the situations you're in. If you think about, a lot of times everybody's known someone who's you've known someone or worked with someone who you felt like, oh my God, this person's amazingly smart, they're amazingly capable, but they are settling for X, Y, and Z, whether that be the job, whether that be a relationship. You can always think of someone else who could be doing better, right? At the same time, we don't look at ourselves like that. As we are looking at someone else, like they could be doing better, they can be doing different, they're settling, there's someone looking at us saying the same thing. And the biggest someone of that is ourselves, because probably 9 out of 10 people are not where they want to be in life on many levels. It could be financial, it could be mental, it could be physical, it can be whatever. most of us are not where we want to be, and that's all right. Like, I think life is a journey, and it's a journey of progressions, and as long as we understand and working towards it, I feel like we're doing the right thing. But if we're not doing it, then I think that's where we need to step back, evaluate where we want to be. We have to evaluate why we're not pursuing it. And then we have to jump out on faith and get into it. And I think that's where a lot of us are stuck at. So, in order to make some changes, the first thing that we're going to do, and we're going to do it collectively, and we're going to do it intentionally, is write down our goals. Like today, I want everybody. It could just be like, let's say 3 to 5 goals that we want to work on in the next 1 to 3 years. You will be amazed at the power of bringing something into fruition once you write it down. You write it down, you put it somewhere. You can make the big goal board, and there's a lot of those things that are really helpful, and that a lot of times at the beginning of the year we start. What I'm suggesting is write it down somewhere where you can visually see it on a daily basis. If you're visually seeing it, think about this. You know how you ever been around really negative people that's always telling you stories about, did you watch the news, and so got shot, and so got killed, and these people got killed, and because every day they're watching the news, and so now their thoughts all day is all the negative things that happen. You think about how people will send you so many different negative things through Messenger or text or all of that. Like, I personally, I don't allow. I don't want to see none of that if it's not something that I could help with, or something that needed from me with the situation. I pretty much really monitor what I let go into there, because all that negative stuff produces the negative thoughts. Just the same as all the positive things will produce positive thoughts. So if you have your goals written down, you have something where you can just kind of see them on a daily basis, and just that acknowledgement of them has you thinking about them. And as long as you're thinking about them, you can pursue it. So just be mindful, write a few of them down, 1 to 3 year scope, and let's start there. That you will be amazed that just simple, small thing like that could be so impactful and powerful to whatever it is you're wanting to achieve. Next is, just being mindful of what you're allowing to occupy your mental space is just as important as what are you spreading, what are you speaking on, right? So if you are always speaking negativity, that means you're reflecting on it. That's what you're sowing in your, if you're imagine this is a good analogy I like to use. Imagine that your mind is like its own galaxy, right? It's its own Earth. Let's say Earth 2, right? So if your mind is Earth 2, you're in control of whatever you create there. If you want to keep it dark, you're gonna have dark thoughts. It's gonna be real negative. Now, if you want it to be beautiful and green and prosperous, then you have to plan. That's what you have to plan. And the planning is your thoughts. The planning is, what are you storing in there, all right? Everything that you take in is stored knowledge. It's kind of like a computer. So in Earth 2, everything that you want to be in Earth 2, you get to put it in there. So if you understand that your mind is its own place, it's your Earth 2, and you get to determine whether your Earth 2 is more resemblance to hell or heaven. You get to decide it. So in your Earth 2, everything you're planning, what you see is what you sow. And in Earth 2, what your Earth 2 looks like is going to directly reflect what your life is. Your Earth 2 should control your Earth 1. So in my head, doesn't matter what's going on everywhere else. In my head, how I am perceiving that and how I'm taking that, there's something that I can learn. There's something that can help me grow from every obstacle that has ever happened in my life. And a lot of times, instead of reflecting on my growth from it, and instead of we reflecting and concentrating on where was the lesson in that obstacle, a lot of times we just carry it. I hear a lot of people when I talk to and coach and counsel, a lot of people who are stuck rewinding tragic times in their life. And I mean, like, it could be 30, 40 years ago, and we're just rewinding it. So what we're doing is we just keep planting that seed. We keep planting that seed. Every time you allow yourself to relive that story, or every time you talk about that story, you're reliving it. And it's giving it power. It's different if you are sharing it to critically think about it, you kind of analyze it, you pick out where's the growth in there. In every obstacle, there's a lesson. Where's the lesson at? So if you're reflecting on it and you're looking at it and thinking about it to get the lesson out of it, you're going to grow and be better from it. If you are constantly bringing it up for just because you can't let it go, just because you can't mentally get by it, then it's going to hurt you. Because now you're planting, you're planting bad seeds, and that's what's coming out. And I'm not to discredit anything that has happened to anybody, but I know on a personal level, all the negative things or all the obstacles or all the things that come from my past or how I grew up or my childhood, I don't allow myself to have recurrent thoughts of them. I can honestly say that stuff is so far back in a little box somewhere on my Earth 2, hell, you would have to dig, and really search to get that from me in my psyche. And even when people ask me about it, I say nothing other than, hey, it was a lot of lessons that created the man that I am today. And that's what it is supposed to be. I don't think, I'm 100% sure that God does not do nothing unintentional. That's first. Second, I'm 100% sure that everything that God does in our lives, it's for our betterment. It is for our progression. It is to help us. And I always say my saying of life is live forward, but understood backwards. And in order to get the full potential out of that, I think where it comes to our second earth, which is our mind, and how we are perceiving and accepting that truth. If you decide and understand and you're really relying on our God to do what we know He is doing for us, and that is providing us with everything that we possibly need to be very happy and to have our own heaven on earth. If you understand that, and if you're standing on your faith in that, every obstacle that comes forth will simply be a lesson that you have to get out of that. It's a growth. It's a growth moment, because whatever it is that you were to learn out of that is to make you better. It should make you better. And once you decide that that is what's going to happen, it's a different life. It's a happy life. I can think of many instances where we were in the middle thinking of a job, and we were in the middle of what would be considered, company crisis, and there's upcoming layoffs, and all this stuff from a financial standpoint. And all I can remember thinking was, man, this would be a great opportunity to go get that second degree, This would be a great opportunity to start that business. This would be a great opportunity to do something different that I may have needed a little nudge for, right? So let's say you lost your job. You can look at the loss of job as something sad, or you can look at the loss of job as it's time for you to move on from that and explore different and new opportunities. So 100%, everything is in our perceptions of every instance in life. If you decide that you want to make those instances helpful for you and grow from them, it's a good life. If not, it's a different life. I always say, the measure of success is not really, my definition of success, it's not a lot to do with financials. I think, the bigger picture for me is, how am I mentally? Am I able to be happy with myself, my actions, my decisions on an everyday basis? Am I constantly working on self-improvement? Am I constantly working on helping other people? So a big part of my life is, a big part of my happiness and a big part of my success is being able to help other people. And that may look different in different areas in different ways, but my overall objective is the same, which creates a very positive environment for me mentally in my earth too. So if all my thoughts are good thoughts, and I'm mentally turning obstacles and bad situations, putting a positive spin on it, giving an alternative way to look at it, it creates an environment of positivity. Of course, there's going to be times where you jump out of that, but for the most part, if you are allowing situations that are negative and obstacles, if you're allowing yourself to look at it from a different perspective, and if you are focusing and concentrating on that perspective, which is more positive, that's going to reflect your light, your energy in your life. So, with that, today's message is, understand that your mind is the source for everything in your life. Understand that you control your circumstances, your situations, the outcomes. You control 100% how they affect you and how you're going to react to the effect they have on you. Last but not least, I wanted to share, understand that we can't control outcomes, right? Like, there's a lot of outcomes and things that happen that we can't control. What we can control is how we perceive them. So if you know and understand that we don't get to control outcomes. Like, God controls all the outcomes, but we get to control how we're going to perceive them, how they're going to affect us. We understand that we control that, so we can make our earth too, which is our mind. We can make that universe and that earth be just amazing with any and all circumstances, if we decide to. So if we are leaning towards that way, majority of the time, I think you have a successful life. Yes, there's a few little things I left out for us. You should be working towards goals, and you definitely have to be financially stable with something. But more than financial stability, I think it's your happiness. I think if we start there, everything else falls under. Like, I know many people with tons of money who are unhappy because they did it backwards. Like, oh, I'm gonna focus, put all my energy on making all this money, but I'm not gonna work on myself mentally. I'm not gonna help people out. I'm not going to have no type of servitude. Guess what? Chances are they're going to continue to be unhappy. Because if you don't start with the most important thing, which is yourself, then it's very, very, very hard to give anything out that's going to be positive. So when I say, well, of course, most important thing is God, and then yourself. it's going to be very critical of what you're spreading, what you're giving out, and what your happiness looks like. All right, so that's my share today. I just want to thank everyone who joined me today again. I like to end with just us giving God thanks and just being grateful for all the positive things that we have going on in our life. And on the top of all of that is, first off, we woke up. That's the first and most important thing that to be grateful for. And I want everybody to just make sure you are critically thinking and analyzing yourself, and you're working on yourself mentally, physically, financially. It's not a lot we can do for others if we don't work on ourselves. I love to think of the airplane, you with your kids, something happened, you gotta put the mask on yourself. You know, you think about how it says love thy neighbor as you love yourself. So everything is predicated on your self-love. Your self-love is 100% predicated on your thoughts. Your thoughts create your reality. Knowing and understand that we all can have whatever heaven, whatever reality we want, if we choose to. All right, so I want everybody to have an awesome, blessed week. I want everybody to have an awesome, blessed Sunday. And I want you to make sure that if you have not subscribed to my YouTube channel, please do. It's Sir Lester Robinson. And I want you to make sure if this message helped you, or if this message you think will help someone else, please share. All right. Everybody be good, stay blessed, and hopefully I'll see you same place next Sunday. Thank you.